Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. We are continuing on this understanding of total past learning history as we have described it in our book Positive Islamic Psychology, and how we are going to enhance our positive ideal within ourselves at a spiritual, emotional, mental and physical level, so that we achieve peace, happiness and success. So I have explained to you in detail how our sum total of our life is called total past learning history, and how inner speech controls most of our destiny within the framework of what Allah has ordained in Lauh Mahfuz. That means we Muslims, we believe in Qada and Qadar, and we believe in that Allah has a written agenda for us. Each and every one of us, we have our agenda, which is within the realm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the all-knowing. So He is beyond space, beyond time, and He is the one who determines. But Allah has given us limited free will for us to mold our life towards a positive qada and qadar. As Rasulullah has mentioned to us, that even if you give charity, Allah will change your qada and qadar. By giving charity, by doing good deeds, by doing so many good things, you can shift from the negative qada and qadar to a positive qada and qadar. So what is important is for us to understand that our total past learning history, we have to mold our inner speech at the four levels: spiritual, emotional, mental and physical. And I explained to you how perception can be positive perception and negative perception, and how feelings and emotion, thoughts, action and behavior are the sum total of all our deeds, action, works that cause us either to be positive and achieve success in this world, or negative and achieve failure in this world and the hereafter. So how feelings and emotion are linked, and how we can give labels to negative feelings, like when we look at it, we say, okay, if we have hatred in our feelings and our emotion, we can say, okay, Mr. Hate is there. So what is we need to do is, we can then be an observer. And today I'm going to explain to you at the SEMP level how we can be an observer. So as I told you, I have described before, feelings equal emotion with a story. A feelings on its own would not be of any consequence. But if you repeat the feelings over and over again, it becomes part and parcel of your negative thoughts. And that negative thoughts become the emotion. That is the story of your life. For example, if you live with revenge, just like many tribes, they keep on killing during Jahiliyah time, during the time before the Prophet ﷺ. They have been fighting for thousands of, maybe hundreds of thousands of years. The same thing in Afghanistan, the same thing in the world wars that we have, is all hate and revenge. And if we can see our thoughts playing around, I hate. So when you say the word I hate, then you know your thoughts is being controlled by Mr. Hate. If I want to take revenge, I want to kill so and so. So Mr. Revenge is taking control of your feelings, that will be turned into emotion. And emotion, if carried out to the fullest, can cause psychological problems, and finally you commit murder. So what is important is, by giving names, we can then mold our inner speech and see ourselves as an observer. So I will give you another chart for you to understand how this is done. As I mentioned to you, within our framework of positive Islamic psychology, we have four realms that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created with. Allah has given us Ar-Ruh, Al-Qalb, Al-Akal, Al-Jasad. The Ruh is the spiritual self, or the Ruh, or the spirit. Al-Qalb is the heart, or the emotional center. Al-Akal is the both conscious and subconscious mind. And ourself, the nerves, is in the center. And where we're in this world, we have our Al-Jasad, that is our physical body. So all these four SEMP are linked together. Now S, our Ruh, our E, our emotion, our M, our SEM, mental, and our P, our Jasad, are linked together. So each time we have a feeling, it will create an emotion that will affect all four realms. That means if you have within the feelings that you feel in your mind and in your heart, all right, because feelings become an emotion that will then translate and affect your jasad, because that's where your heart begin to palpitate. That's where you begin to you shiver, or you tend to become upset, and your heartbeat becomes shallow, and so on. So those are the physical manifestation of hate or revenge. So how are we going to then mold ourselves outward? Because what is important, the SEMP lives within ourselves all the time. Until we die, this jasad disappears. So we have the SEM back to our original position with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala within His divine realm, and the imprint of our life in this world, this jasad, the physical action that we do, is we are answerable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the thought and emotional level, we are not answerable to Allah. Allah gives us many excuses. So Allah is all Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. If we have an evil thought and we have an evil emotion continuously, this is still forgiven. But if it is manifested into action, alright, if it is manifested into action, then we have to be responsible for that action. And that action can be positive or negative. Alright? So how are we then going to mold this SEMP that is positive? We live in this world. There are 4 areas. There are many areas, but there are 4 key areas in which we have to understand that within our existence there are 4 key, what I call control buttons. The first control button is fear. This is the first control button. The second control button is hope. And the third, most importantly, is what we yearn and we hope for, is love. Okay. So our whole manifestation of our existence, the spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical self, will then be bounded by these 3 factors. There are many other factors, but they are minor factors. But let's take these 3 factors: fear, hope, and love. From our existence in this dunya, we know we are always living constantly in fear. The moment you are born into this world, you had a fear of falling, fear of hunger, fear of death, fear of confrontation, fear. You have a lot of fear. So Allah tells us in Al-Quran Al-Karim, we have to transcend fear. To transcend fear, we must have hope. Because if we do not have hope, then our fear will be constantly bugging us. That's why modern humanity is always in anxiety, always thinking they are in trouble, thinking about they're going to get cancer, thinking they're going to lose their job, thinking. So that is the fear thinking that we have to eliminate, because finally, whatever is manifested in the physical world is not permanent. Whatever is manifested in the spiritual world, that is a permanent self that is going to continue ever and ever and ever. This is actually positive Islamic psychology, is the exact opposite of secular psychology, because secular psychology doesn't talk about the roh, doesn't talk about the, now they talk about the cow, the heart, now they talk about the conscious and subconscious mind. But for more than 1,000 years, Muslim scholars have elucidated this beautiful idea, and the depth of the writings need a lot of research. I hope some of you will then go and study all these great scholars. So many of their written manuscripts are still available in the great libraries, and you can see how they describe each and every one of these aspects in its functional form and the practical tips of how we are going to transcend that. So I'm taking some of this to give you an idea of the beauty of their learning. So fear is constant. That's why in Al-Quran Al-Karim, Allah tells us we must transcend fear. And Allah repeated many times in Al-Quran. If you believe in Allah, if you do good, if you do amal saleh, Allah tells us what? La khawfun wa la hum yahzanun. You shall have no fear of the future, nor shall you be sad of what you have done in the past. So we transcend that. Muslims must transcend that. But unfortunately, today Muslims are living constantly in fear. So we are not transcending to the level of hope. A lot of Muslims don't even have hope. So most important is for us to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and try to find hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Once you find hope, alright, that is where you begin to have the positive ideas at the spiritual, emotional, and mental and physical level. So each and every one of them, they need food. Just like you eat food, you have to have positive jasad, you must have nutritious food, and so on. For roh, your qalb and akal, you must have positive feelings and thoughts. Alright? That means this feeling and thoughts I have explained to you at the roh level, at the qalb level, at the akal level will affect your jasad, So then you have hope. This is where we do amal saleh. This is where we do our ibadah. This is where we do our arkanul Islam and arkanul iman. This is where we begin to feel the joy of being a believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But that is not enough, because finally our destiny is the destiny of love. That's why this is the greatest gift of Allah to all believers. You reach the stage of love. So Al-Imam Ghazali in Ihya Ulumuddin explained in very great detail how we can achieve this love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have achieved of love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have the love for ourselves, love for our family, love for all creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, love for the environment, love for everything that Allah has given us. That is our goal in life, to become an insanul kamil and to achieve the peace, happiness and success. That is the opportunity and the right of every human being. The right of every Bani Adam is to achieve transcending fear, having hope, living in love constantly with the blessings and grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if we know how to do that, then we can mold our roh, qalb, akal and jasad towards this positive action. And I'll give you more practical example of how we are going to do that, so that our feelings and thoughts, whichever that we have, our feelings, our emotions, whatever that we have is all bounded with the positive worldview, to be a true Muslim, contributing to the world, making this world good, peaceful and happy for everybody and ourselves, being a true sincere servant of Allah, to be His Khalifa on this earth. Remember, every day we do something good. Strive to make ourselves good. Strive to help others to be good. And strive to make this world good, so that in the 21st century, we Muslims will lead the world towards a wonderful life for all. See you in the next episode. Thank you.